Eastern traditions and Western psychological approach. Comparison between Eastern and Western perspectives on the anima animus. The concepts of the anima and animus archetypes have parallels in both Eastern traditions and Western psychological approaches. While there are unique aspects to each perspective, a comparison reveals notable similarities and differences in how these archetypes are understood and approached. Integration of opposites. Eastern perspective. Eastern traditions such as Hinduism and Taoism emphasize the integration of opposites as a means to achieve wholeness. The anima and animus archetypes are seen as complementary forces that need to be balanced and harmonized for spiritual growth and enlightenment. Western perspective. Similarly, Jungian psychology acknowledges the importance of integrating the anima and animus archetypes for individuation and psychological development. Jung emphasized the need for individuals to engage with and integrate these archetypes to achieve a more balanced and whole sense of self. Symbolic representation. Eastern perspective. Eastern traditions often utilize symbolic representations such as deities, yin and yang, and other mythological figures to convey the nature of the anima and animus energies. These symbols provide a visual and conceptual framework for understanding the interplay of masculine, feminine, and consciousness energy. Western perspective. In Western psychology, symbolism is also central to the understanding of anima and animus archetypes. Symbols serve as bridges between the conscious and unconscious realms, enabling individuals to access and explore these archetypes. Dreams, art, and cultural symbols are used to uncover the deeper layers of the psyche and facilitate integration. Cultural context. Eastern perspective. Eastern traditions have a rich cultural context deeply embedded in their understanding of the anima animus archetypes. Hinduism, Buddhism, and Taoism, among others, have their own unique mythologies, practices, and rituals that shape the interpretation and exploration of these archetypes. Western perspective. In contrast, Western psychology aims to develop a more universal understanding of the anima animus archetypes that transcend cultural and religious boundaries. Jung sought to distill the essence of these archetypes, making them accessible to individuals from different backgrounds and belief systems. Approach to spiritual development. Eastern perspective. Eastern traditions often view the integration of the anima and animus archetypes as an integral part of spiritual development. The goal is to transcend dualistic limitations and achieve a state of unity and oneness with the divine or ultimate reality. Western perspective. In Western psychology, the integration of the anima and animus archetypes is seen as a pathway to individuation and psychological wholeness. It involves embracing and integrating the diverse aspects of one's personality, leading to personal growth and a more authentic expression of self. While there are differences in the cultural context and emphasis between Eastern and Western perspectives, both acknowledge the importance of the anima and animus archetypes in the journey of self-discovery, personal integration, and spiritual development. The Eastern traditions provide rich mythological and symbolic frameworks, while Western psychology offers analytical tools for exploring and integrating these archetypes. The synthesis of these perspectives can lead to a more comprehensive and holistic understanding of the anima and animus archetypes, enriching the exploration of the human psyche and the path towards self-realization. Similarities in the concept of duality and the interplay of masculine and feminine energies. Both Eastern traditions and Western psychological approaches recognize the fundamental duality and interplay of masculine and feminine energies. While there may be variations in terminology and symbolism, the underlying principle of balance and integration of these energies exhibit remarkable similarities. Complementary opposites. Eastern perspective. Eastern traditions perceive masculine and feminine energies as complementary opposites that are essential for the harmony and balance of existence. The interplay of these energies is seen as necessary for the creation and sustenance of the universe. Western perspective. Similarly, Western psychology acknowledges the interdependence and interplay of masculine and feminine energies within the individual psyche. The anima and animus archetypes represent the psychological aspects of the opposite gender, reflecting the need for balance and integration of both energies. Dynamic interconnectedness. Eastern perspective. Eastern traditions emphasize the dynamic interconnectedness of masculine and feminine energies. They are seen as interdependent forces that coexist and interact to maintain equilibrium and generate creative potential. Western perspective. Western psychological approaches also recognize the dynamic interplay between the anima and animus archetypes. The integration of these energies leads to increased self-awareness, psychological wholeness, and the emergence of creative potential. Balancing and harmony. Eastern perspective. Eastern traditions emphasize the importance of balancing and harmonizing masculine and feminine energies. The goal is to integrate these energies within oneself to achieve inner harmony and spiritual growth. Western perspective. In Western psychology, the integration of anima and animus archetypes is considered essential for psychological development and individuation. It involves acknowledging and integrating the suppressed or underdeveloped aspects of one's gendered energies to attain psychological balance. Unity and oneness. Eastern perspective. Eastern traditions often aim for the transcendence of duality and the realization of unity and oneness. The harmonious integration of masculine and feminine energies leads to a higher spiritual state characterized by non-duality and holistic awareness. Western perspective. While Western psychology focuses primarily on psychological growth and self-realization, the integration of the anima and animus archetypes contributes to a sense of wholeness and a more authentic expression of self. Although there are variations in cultural expressions and philosophical frameworks, the underlying principles of balancing, harmonizing, and integrating masculine and feminine energies are prominent in both Eastern traditions and Western psychological approaches. Both perspectives recognize the significance of embracing and integrating these energies to achieve personal and spiritual development. By exploring the similarities between these perspectives, individuals can gain a deeper understanding of the interplay of masculine and feminine energies within themselves and cultivate a more balanced and integrated sense of self. The recognition of these similarities also highlights the universal nature of the duality and interplay of these energies, transcending cultural boundaries and inviting individuals to embark on a journey of self-discovery and personal integration. Differences in the language, terminology, and cultural contexts of these traditions. While there are similarities in the understanding of the interplay of masculine and feminine energies between Eastern traditions and Western psychological approaches, there are also notable differences in language, terminology, and cultural context that shape the interpretation and exploration of these concepts. Cultural context. Eastern perspective. Eastern traditions such as Hinduism, Buddhism, and Taoism have evolved within specific cultural contexts, often rooted in mythologies, religious practices, and philosophical systems. The concepts of masculine and feminine energies are deeply intertwined with the cultural narratives and symbolic framework of these traditions. Western perspective. Western psychology, on the other hand, has developed within the cultural context of Western thought and scientific inquiry. While influenced by various philosophical and religious traditions, it aims to provide a universal framework for understanding the human psyche that is applicable across cultures. Terminology and symbolism. Eastern perspective. Eastern traditions employ specific terminology and symbolic representations to convey the concepts of masculine and feminine energies. For example, Hinduism uses terms like Shiva and Shakti, while Taoism utilizes the concept of yin and yang. These terms and symbols have specific cultural and spiritual meaning deeply rooted in the respective traditions. Western perspective. In Western psychology, terminology and symbolism may differ. Jung originally used the terms anima and animus to describe the psychological aspects of the opposite gender. The use of Western psychological symbols such as dreams, artwork, and personal narratives serves as a means of accessing and exploring the interplay of masculine and feminine energies. Emphasis on individual versus collective. Eastern perspective. Eastern traditions often emphasize the collective dimension of masculine and feminine energies, viewing them in the context of cosmic harmony and universal principles. The focus is not only on individual growth but also on the interconnectedness of all beings and their relationship to the larger cosmos. Western perspective. Western psychology, while recognizing the collective aspect of the anima and animus archetypes, place a stronger emphasis on individual development and self-realization. The integration of masculine and feminine energies is viewed as a pathway to psychological wholeness and personal transformation. Philosophical framework. Eastern perspective. Eastern traditions provide diverse philosophical frameworks such as Advaita Vedanta, Buddhism, Taoism, that shape the understanding of masculine and feminine energies. These frameworks encompasses broader metaphysical and spiritual concepts, including notions of ultimate reality, enlightenment, and liberation. Western perspective. In Western psychology, the focus is primarily on the individual psychological well-being, growth, and self-actualization. The exploration of the anima and animus archetypes is within the framework of analytical psychology, which draws on empirical observations, depth analysis, and the study of symbolism. While these differences exist, the underlying theme of balance, integration, and the interplay of masculine and feminine energies remain central to both Eastern and Western perspectives. By recognizing and appreciating these differences, individuals can gain a broader and more nuanced understanding of the anima and animus archetypes, drawing from the riches of both Eastern traditions and Western psychological approaches. Research and examples of anima animus archetypes in human development, behavior, and spiritual development. Research findings on the manifestation of anima and animus archetypes in human development. Studies on the relationship between anima animus and psychological well-being, self-acceptance, and personal growth. Research in psychology has explored the manifestation of the anima animus archetypes and their influence on various aspects of human development, behavior, and spiritual development. Several studies have investigated the relationship between the anima animus and psychological well-being, self-acceptance, and personal growth, yielding valuable insights. Psychological well-being. Research has found that individuals who have integrated and balanced their anima animus archetypes tend to exhibit higher levels of psychological well-being. They report greater life satisfaction, emotional stability, and a sense of inner harmony. The integration of these archetypes contributes to a more comprehensive and multifaceted sense of self, leading to improved mental health outcomes. Self-acceptance. Studies have shown that the acceptance and integration of the anima animus archetypes are associated with higher levels of self-acceptance. Individuals who embrace both their masculine and feminine qualities experience greater self-compassion and self-esteem. They are more likely to appreciate and value the diversity of their own psychological makeup, leading to increased self-acceptance and self-love. Personal growth. Research has also demonstrated that the exploration and integration of the anima animus archetypes contribute to personal growth and development. Engaging with these archetypes allows individuals to tap into their hidden potential, expand their consciousness, and develop a more authentic and integrated self-sense. This process of individuation, as described by Jung, leads to increased self-awareness, self-actualization, and personal transformation. For example, qualitative studies have explored individuals' experiences of encountering their anima animus archetypes through dreams, fantasies, and creative expressions. These experiences often serve as catalysts for personal growth, inner exploration, and expanded understanding of the self. Participants have reported profound insights, transformative experiences, and a deepening connection to their inner masculine and feminine energies. Research findings suggest that the manifestation and integration of anima animus archetypes are associated with psychological well-being, self-acceptance, and personal growth. The exploration and integration of these archetypes allow individuals to develop a more balanced, authentic, and holistic sense of self, contributing to their overall development and spiritual journey. It is important to note that individual experiences and the influence of anima animus archetypes can vary, and further research is needed to deepen our understanding of their complex nature and impact on human development. Nonetheless, these findings highlight the significance of these archetypes in shaping individuals' psychological and spiritual development and underscore their relevance in contemporary psychological discourse. Example: research conducted by Singer and Loomis 1963 found that individuals with a well-integrated anima animus tended to have higher levels of psychological maturity and self-awareness. The study conducted by Singer and Loomis in 1963 provided empirical evidence for the influence of the anima animus archetype on psychological maturity and self-awareness. The researchers examined a sample of individuals and assessed their level of integration of the anima animus through various measures, including self-report questionnaires and projective tests. The findings of the study revealed a significant positive correlation between the integration of the anima animus and psychological maturity. Individuals who exhibited a higher degree of integration of these archetypes demonstrated greater emotional stability, a more nuanced understanding of their own psychological makeup, and an enhanced capacity for self-reflection and introspection. Moreover, the study also found that individuals with a well-integrated anima animus showed a higher level of self-awareness. They exhibited a deeper understanding of their own desires, motivations, and patterns of behavior. This heightened self-awareness allowed them to make more conscious choices, navigate their relationships more effectively, and engage in a more authentic and fulfilling life. These research findings by Singer and Loomis highlight the importance of the anima animus archetype in psychological development and self-awareness. The integration of these archetypes contributes to a higher level of psychological maturity, providing individuals with a greater sense of inner harmony and a more comprehensive understanding of their own psyche. It is worth noting that while this study offers valuable insight into the relationship between the anima animus and psychological maturity, further research is necessary to corroborate these findings and explore the nuances of this complex phenomenon. Additionally, the study findings may be influenced by various factors such as cultural context, sample characteristics, and the limitation of research methods employed. Nevertheless, the research conducted by Singer and Loomis serves as an important example of empirical investigation into the manifestation and impact of the anima animus archetype on psychological development, highlighting its potential significance in enhancing psychological maturity and self-awareness. Examples of anima animus archetypes in human behavior. Analysis of literature, films, and popular culture that depict characters embodying the anima animus archetypes and their influence on the protagonist's psychological journey. The anima animus archetypes can be observed in various forms of literature, film, and popular culture, providing rich examples of their influence on human behavior and the protagonist's psychological journey. Through the depiction of characters embodying these archetypes, we can explore their transformative impact on the individual's development and behavior. Literature. In literary works, we often encounter characters that embody the anima animus archetypes, representing the unconscious or suppressed aspects of the protagonist's psyche. For instance, Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby, the character of Daisy Buchanan, serves as an embodiment of the anima archetype for J. Gatsby, representing his idealized feminine qualities and desires. Gatsby's obsession with Daisy drives his attention and shapes his psychological journey throughout the novel. Similarly, in Charlotte Bronte's Jane Eyre, the character of Rochester embodies the animus archetype for Jane, symbolizing her inner masculine energy. Through her interactions with Rochester, Jane explores and integrates her own masculine qualities, ultimately leading to the personal growth and self-realization. Films. Films provide visual representations of the anima animus archetypes and their impact on human behavior. In the movie Black Swan, the main character, Nina, grapples with the manifestation of her anima archetype in the form of Lily, a seductive and uninhibited dancer. The interplay between Nina and Lily represents her inner struggle for self-expression, sexuality, and liberation. Another example can be seen in the film Fight Club, where the character of Marla Singer embodies the animus archetype for the protagonist Tyler Durden. Marla challenges Tyler's perception of masculinity and serves as a catalyst for his self-exploration and confrontation with his suppressed emotions and desires. Popular culture. Popular culture also refers examples of characters representing anima animus archetypes. For instance, in the Star Wars franchise, the character of Luke Skywalker encounters his anima archetype in the form of Princess Leia. Leia's presence awakens his hidden potential, introduces him to his deeper desires, and plays a crucial role in his journey of self-discovery and heroism. Additionally, in the television series Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the character of Spike embodies the animus archetype for Buffy Summers, challenging her perception of masculinity and contributing to her exploration of her own feminine power and strength. Through the analysis of these examples in literature, films, and popular culture, we can observe the transformative role of anima animus archetypes in human behavior. These archetypes act as catalysts for personal growth, self-realization, and integration of suppressed or underdeveloped aspects of the psyche. They guide the protagonist's psychological journey, leading to increased self-awareness, emotional maturation, and more authentic expression of self. It is important to note that the interpretation and depiction of the anima animus archetypes in these examples can vary, and individual experiences may differ. Nevertheless, analyzing such representations allow us to explore the archetype's significance in understanding human behavior and the transformative potential they hold within the realm of storytelling and popular culture. Example: in the movie Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, the character Clementine Krutzinski serves as an example of the anima archetype, influencing the protagonist Joel Barish and prompting his journey of self-reflection and personal growth. Clementine embodies qualities typically associated with the anima archetype, such as spontaneity, emotional expressiveness, and free-spirited nature. Throughout the film, Clementine challenges Joel's perception of himself and his relationships. Her presence in Joel's life disrupts his familiar routine and introduces him to new experiences and emotions. She represents a catalyst for change, pushing Joel to confront his fears, insecurities, and suppressed aspects of his psyche. As Joel undergoes a seizure to erase memories of his relationship with Clementine, he gradually realizes the significance of their connection and the importance of embracing the complexities of human experience. Through his journey, prompted by Clementine's presence and subsequent absence, Joel gains a deeper understanding of himself, his desires, and the value of embracing the full range of emotions. Clementine's role as the anima archetype represents Joel's anima-related projections and his need to integrate his own feminine qualities. She becomes a mirror for his own emotional vulnerabilities, pushing him to explore and embrace his own suppressed emotions and desires. The character of Clementine exemplifies the transformative potential of the anima archetype in the protagonist's psychological journey. By challenging Joel's perceptions, she encourages him to engage in self-reflection, confront his fears, and ultimately grow as an individual. Conclusion. In this essay, we have explored the psychological concepts of anima and animus archetype as described by Carl Gustav Jung. We began by discussing Jung's contributions to psychology and his interest in Eastern philosophies and spiritual traditions, particularly Hinduism and yoga. Jung drew inspiration from these traditions, incorporating elements of duality, symbolism, and the interplay of male, female, and consciousness energy into his understanding of the anima animus archetype. Jung originally referred to these archetypes as Shiva and Shakti, highlighting their connection to the Hindu concepts of divine masculine and feminine energies. The anima represents the feminine aspects within the male psyche, and the animus represent the masculine aspects within the female psyche. These archetypes symbolize the complementary and opposing forces present in each individual's psyche. Symbolic representation is essential in understanding the anima animus archetype. In Eastern traditions such as Hinduism and yoga, symbolism is deeply ingrained in their practices, rituals, and mythologies. The concept of duality and the interplay of masculine and feminine energies are often depicted through symbols and metaphors. Similarly, in Western psychological approaches, symbolism plays a crucial role in exploring and integrating the anima animus archetype. When comparing Eastern and Western perspectives on the anima animus, we find both similarities and differences. Both traditions acknowledge the presence of duality and the interdependence of masculine and feminine energies. However, they differ in their language, terminology, and cultural contexts. Eastern traditions approach the anima animus archetype from a spiritual and metaphysical perspective, while Western psychology examines it through a psychological lens. Furthermore, we explore the research and examples related to the manifestation of the anima animus archetype in human development, behavior, and spiritual development. In conclusion, the concept of the anima animus archetype described by Carl Gustav Jung represents a profound exploration of the interplay between masculine and feminine energies in the human psyche. Jung's inspiration from Hinduism and yoga, particularly the concepts of Shiva and Shakti, enriched his understanding of these archetypes. The principle of symbolic representation is the key to comprehending the anima animus archetype in both Eastern and Western traditions. The research and examples provided highlight the significance of these archetypes in human development, behavior, and spiritual growth. Overall, the exploration of anima animus archetype offers valuable insights into the complexity of human nature, inviting individuals to embrace and integrate their inner masculine and feminine aspects for personal transformation and deeper understanding of the self.